This is the trial of the century.
The road to justice has been far too long. But today, justice has been done.
And then Ghislaine sits on the other side, and they began assaulting me.
They went to Palm Beach to a gentleman's house, and he pays them if he likes them and he thinks that they're pretty enough, he keeps them around to do other things.
Who's the real Ghislaine?
It's definitely not the person portrayed.
Ghislaine, she is the wicked one, and these women with her, they deserve the same punishment.
It was just like a factory. He was running a machine and Ghislaine Maxwell was the one operating it.
You want to hurt kids? That's where you go.
She was the daughter of a disgraced tycoon, a socialite who moved in the most powerful circles. But behind the glamour, Ghislaine Maxwell was constructing a world of unimaginable horror.
Breaking news in the Ghislaine Maxwell trial. She has been convicted of helping American financier Jeffrey Epstein sexually abuse teenage girls.
She is from a dynasty that has known disgrace, and is now disgraced herself.
To understand Ghislaine Maxwell, you have to start with her father, Robert Maxwell.
Well, Robert Maxwell was one of the most important and powerful people in British public life in the 70s and 80s. He was a media tycoon, he owned a publishing house, he owned tabloids, various different companies.
Born into poverty in Czechoslovakia, he rebuilt himself as a British press baron, ruling his empire and his family with an iron fist.
And people were physically afraid of him.
Being with him and around him was always quite tense because, he was demanding and difficult. And so one tended to be not too close if one could avoid it.
Ghislaine, the youngest of 9 children, was born on Christmas Day in 1961. Her arrival was overshadowed by tragedy when her older brother was left in a coma after a car crash.
The whole family were completely shattered because he was in many ways, he was the leader of the tribe, he was the apple of my parents' eyes, and so on. And Ghislaine was, to an extent, really ignored.
Her mother wrote that as a young child, ignored and desperate for attention, Ghislaine once stamped her foot and declared, "Mommy, I exist." It was a cry that would echo throughout her life.
Ghislaine was the baby sister, the 9th child, born on Christmas Day in 1961.
Her brother Ian gave her a nickname, Sprat, the smallest fish in the ocean. She was doted on, but also dominated. At Oxford, she was bright but unmotivated. Her tutor remembers her charm and her lack of effort.
Ghislaine would sit there on the corner of the desk. There was I was 21, she was 17. But she was incredibly bright, but the problem was she just didn't do enough work.
But her charm was undeniable. She knew how to navigate elite social circles.
One of the first times I photographed Ghislaine, she was darting about, very physical, rushing around. She was flirty with boys.
But beneath the confident exterior, those who knew her sensed a void.
But there was always that sense that there was something brittle, vulnerable, frantic beneath that socially confident exterior.
She was her father's emissary, often tasked with bringing young, attractive friends to his lavish parties.
Ghislaine would be there, I think, bringing in friends and a lot of them women in their 20s. And
it was a role she would perfect. She was learning to procure, to present young women for the approval of powerful, older men. The Maxwell fairy tale came to a brutal end in November 1991.
Good evening. The millionaire newspaper publisher Robert Maxwell is dead. He disappeared overboard from his private yacht early this morning while cruising off the Canary Islands.
The yacht was named in her honor, the Lady Ghislaine.
When she came aboard and met Betty, her mother, she was howling about her daddy.
Her father's death revealed a toxic legacy. He had plundered hundreds of millions from his own company's pension funds.
Good evening. The headlines at 6 o'clock. Robert Maxwell's business empire is collapsing tonight.
Mirror Group newspapers said that in the weeks before his death, Mr. Maxwell removed £350 million from its pension fund without apparent proper authority.
The Maxwell name was ruined. Ghislaine was grief-stricken, and her entire lifestyle was at risk. She was adrift. It was at this moment that a mysterious figure entered her life, Jeffrey Epstein.
He appointed me in charge of Ghislaine while she was profoundly, almost suicidally depressed from the death of her father.
Epstein presented himself as her savior.
She said to someone I know well that, she felt that he'd saved her after her father's death.
It was a transaction. He gave her the security and wealth she craved. In return, she gave him something he desperately needed: access. Her little black book of contacts became his golden ticket.
Ghislaine's job was to bring her father's contacts, deliver them to Jeffrey, in return for giving her the life that she always thought she would have, lost, and was now replacing.
But it wasn't just about introducing him to princes and presidents. Ghislaine Maxwell's most sinister role was yet to be revealed. She became Epstein's chief recruiter.
So several times I was in the car with her, and she would ask the driver to stop the car. And she'd dash across to the school or the park or wherever she was going, and she would write down her phone number for a child, a young girl. And then I'd see that child at the house, and she'd say they're auditioning.
Maria Farmer was an artist who met the couple in 1995. She witnessed the dark machinery up close. Then she became a victim.
Ghislaine escorts me to Jeffrey's room, and he's lying there, and he goes, "Well, here, sit down." And so right next to him, and then Ghislaine sits on the other side, and they began assaulting me.
Farmer went to the FBI in 1996. It was the very first official complaint against Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. It was ignored.
They just kept it all quiet, put it in the bottom drawer. And they were so dismissive that I just felt daunted, and I stopped.
But the machine was already in motion. From Palm Beach to New York, vulnerable girls were targeted.
Children like myself that were vulnerable to him and his money, and we felt like we were being helped and saved by him when ultimately he was just preying on us.
She just seemed very nice, and she said, "I've got a person that I know who's actually looking for a traveling masseuse, and if you want, I can get you an interview with him. If he likes you, we can get you educated. You'll be a real masseuse, and you'll get to travel and see the world." And she made it sound like it was a dream come true, and it wasn't.
For girls like Virginia Roberts, just 16, and Courtney Wild, just 14, the promise was a trap.
He asked us to get comfortable, to just, take our clothes off, to be in our bra and panties.
Were you abused during that session?
And so we would massage him for about 30 minutes, and then whenever he was ready, rolled over and asked the person that brought me to go downstairs and wait. And once that happened, then that's when the sexual abuse happened. Yes.
Maxwell wasn't just the organizer. Victims testified she was often an active participant.
So put it this way, we did the back of him, we did the back of Epstein, and then when he turned over, that's when I was instructed to get undressed and have sex with Jeffrey Epstein while Ghislaine Maxwell was participating as well.
In 2002, journalist Vicky Ward interviewed Maria Farmer, who alleged Epstein abused her.
I met this woman, Maria Farmer, and she told me that she had worked for Jeffrey Epstein.
When Ward put the allegations to Epstein, he threatened her.
He treated the entire thing as a game, a really dark, twisted game. He even said to me at the beginning, "Okay, let's play chess."
Epstein met with her boss. The allegations were cut from the story.
Well, I remember bursting into tears and saying to the the person who is directly my editor, we've exposed these poor women. I mean, this is unconscionable.
Epstein bought a secluded island, later known as Pedophile Island, a supposed sanctuary that became an isolated prison where young girls were abused. And Maxwell was managing those girls.
It was just like a factory. He was running a machine and Ghislaine Maxwell was the one operating it.
In 2005, Palm Beach police received a report of abuse.
It was an incident that occurred maybe like three and a half weeks ago with one of my stepdaughters. Found out that ended up being that they went to Palm Beach to a gentleman's house, and they start off by giving this gentleman a massage, and he pays them if he likes them and he thinks that they're pretty enough, he keeps them around to do other things. Okay. So I wasn't quite sure if there was an investigation or if you guys had any word. Well, this is the first I'm hearing of it.
Police found phone message pads with names of young girls, flight logs, nude photos. But Epstein's wealth bought him a way out. In 2007, he negotiated a secret plea deal. He'd plead guilty to the lesser charge of unlawfully paying for sex with a teenager, for which he'd served just over a year in jail. The deal gave immunity to Maxwell.
It's a deal like none other that I've ever heard of. The fact that not only was he able to get away with dozens, if not hundreds, of crimes, but also somehow get immunity for his co-conspirators.
Epstein served just 13 months with work release. He was back on the streets, and the abuse continued. In 2019, Epstein was finally arrested again.
Billionaire financier Jeffrey Epstein has been arrested, charged with sex trafficking involving underage girls.
I never thought it was going to happen. I honestly thought he was just going to continue to get away with it over and over and over again.
He could face up to 45 years behind bars.
A month later, Epstein was found dead in his cell, ruled a suicide. His death shifted the focus entirely to his accomplice. Ghislaine Maxwell became the most wanted woman in the world.
Just 4 days ago, Ghislaine Maxwell, the most wanted woman in the world, was found hiding out in New Hampshire.
You want to hurt kids? That's where you go.
In November 2021, the trial of Ghislaine Maxwell began. The prosecution called witness after witness who had been girls when they were abused.
This is a trial about a sex trafficking enterprise that destroyed the lives of countless young women and girls.
The defense portrayed Maxwell as a scapegoat for a dead man. The jury saw through it.
Breaking news in the Ghislaine Maxwell trial. She has been convicted of helping American financier Jeffrey Epstein sexually abuse teenage girls.
The road to justice has been far too long. But today, justice has been done.
She was sentenced to 20 years in prison. In late 2023 and early 2024, a fourth major wave of court documents was unsealed, naming over 150 people connected to Epstein. The names included the famous and powerful Prince Andrew, Bill Clinton, Donald Trump. Most are not accused of wrongdoing, but are listed as witnesses. The documents also contained allegations that Epstein used the girls for blackmail.
There is, for the first time, the idea that he was quizzing the girls he sent to famous people for details of what happened for blackmail purposes.
Prince Andrew is mentioned 69 times. A second woman, Johanna Schoberg, testified under oath that he had groped her. He has consistently denied all allegations and settled a civil lawsuit with Virginia Giuffre in 2022.
We have sworn testimony from a second person corroborating that he did engage in illegal acts.
From prison, Maxwell maintains her innocence.
Who's the real Ghislaine?
It's definitely not the person portrayed. I feel completely divorced from the person that people reference and talk about.
For her victims, her protests are an insult.
Jeffrey was dirty. He was sick. He was a pedophile. He's gone. Ghislaine, she is the wicked one. And these women with her, they deserve the same punishment. They deserve to be taken down as well.
On the island they called Pedophile Island, the buildings are empty. But the ghosts remain, the ghosts of girls whose childhoods were stolen by a woman who should have known better. Ghislaine Maxwell was more than Epstein's girlfriend. She was his partner, his enabler. She used her charm and her trauma to build a pipeline of pain. Her conviction was a victory, but only one battle. The documents continue to be unsealed, the questions mount, and the victims continue to fight. The legacy of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell is a stain on the global elite. And the question remains, who else knew, who else participated, and who else will finally be held accountable?
Do you expect that others will be charged?
I very much hope so.
If you want more deep dives like this, make sure to like and subscribe. There's always more beneath the surface. If you want more deep dives like this, make sure to like and subscribe. There's always more beneath the surface.